All right, so all of you be thinking about the pressing questions you've got. I'd like to start with the first question, which is, what steps should users take to assess the security and compliance of their cloud provider? There's a huge amount of questions around security of cloud providers, what they do, and so forth. And you actually made an announcement about a framework today, right? Assessment framework. So maybe you can talk about that in terms of what users should do, what steps they should take. Because it sounds like part of the motivation for that framework was to ease end user ability to assess providers. Can you talk a little bit about that?
As this morning some speaker mentioned that he mentioned not all cloud are created equal. And when you try to embark or try to adopt cloud services, I think first of all, I think you have to do a due diligence, right? And as mentioned this morning, ITSC, IT Center has actually produced one of them is the security and service level guideline for adoption of public cloud services. And inside you mentioned what aspects to be considered when you adopt cloud services. On the other hand, CSA also have a questionnaire called CAIQ, Consensus Assessment Initiative Questionnaire. You're also supposed to pass it to the cloud service provider, so you fill out and tell you what are the security provisions that they are providing you. I think these are basic due diligence. I think anybody who wants to embark on the adoption of cloud services should do the due diligence and go through the security provision by the cloud service provider.
Sort of a follow-up to that. How regular are cloud service providers to those things? And in the States, what we've seen is that, and actually throughout the world, what we've seen is that some providers are very capable of responding to sophisticated stuff. Other ones, not very sophisticated about it. And other ones basically say, tell us what you want us to tell you, and we'll fill that out in the form. So could you talk a little bit about kind of the readiness of providers here in Singapore and maybe through APAC to really respond thoroughly and efficiently to these kinds of assessment questionnaires and so forth?
Well, this technical reference just have been published 2 months back, right? So it's a global website and people can purchase and do a little bit of advertisement here. Okay, but the CAIQ produced by CSA has been around for quite some time. And in fact, CSA also have a STAR registry where the cloud service provider can answer to those questionnaires and publish it, let everybody see that what they have, what kind of security profession they have there. I think, of course, it requires a bit of time to go through each and every one of them to satisfy yourself that indeed the service provider that you can sign up with have the necessary security to protect your data and able to provide the service level that you require.
Okay. So, Wally, I want to pose a question to you. Particularly given all of your expertise across all those different domains, in the work that we've done, we often find what I would call post-deployment patching. So, in fact, we've given a term to it, which we call the cloud boomerang. A business unit put something out in the cloud, got it up and running, and then one day said, either I'm not sure what to do with it, or I'm tired of dealing with it, or whatever. They turn to the internal operations and say, here, I have a gift for you. And, I want you to take it over. And that's a challenge because typically, or oftentimes, that app has been developed and deployed without the kinds of input or insight from centralized IT groups, security groups, other groups, but oftentimes especially security groups. What's your organization do when that happens? When they get the kind of the gift of the, we developed this, here it is. Do you have any experience with that? Any guidance about that you could offer or share?
we are just talking about the new area of going to cloud, but now we're talking about bringing back the cloud back to the traditional IT infrastructure. So I think on the basis, on the risk perspective, whether is it your own internal IT infrastructure or are you going to outsource it to a cloud computing resource, I believe the risks are still the same. Just that in the outsourcing to the cloud computing resource, you have extra element, and the element is the cloud service provider. So the question is how you handle those elements. And of course, that come back to we have seen that when it comes to there's a lot of CSA, we talk about this star, we have a trusted cloud service provider. We even have Microsoft, Azure that pre-qualified themselves. They will say that my cloud infrastructure has been certified to be ISO 27001, or I'm following CSA guide or following some of the best practices guide. So if your organization needs some kind of certification like ISMS or ISO 27001, and if you use my cloud, you can be sure that however I do the work operation satisfied your security requirement. But I think that comes back to the question of SLA and also about liability, legal issue. So like you said, if I put the resource into the cloud, if something goes wrong, the data has been compromised, and who do I go after? Do I go after the service provider, or do I go after my user who and ultimately did not choose a very strong password and make it an easy target for people to compromise? Then the next question is, like I said, shall I bring this back to the traditional IT infrastructure? And my IT infrastructure ready in that sense? Because when I try to save cost, I cut overhead. And I outsource everything up. If I pull it back, where are my resources? Where are my IT infrastructure? I might not even have a data center by then. Everything's in the cloud. So I might face this kind of issue if I want to bring back whatever is in the cloud back to the organization.
Okay. Questions from the audience? Particular issues that you want to look at? Have a mic over here. I can't believe all of you are completely satisfied with cloud computing security.
So let me add some more.
Yeah.
When you try to sign up with a cloud service provider, just like any outsourcing, there's a pre-contract due diligence that every one of us should do. Then after signing up post-contract, you need to do the continual monitoring, whether it satisfies your service level rate, and also the security, whether it's still maintained there and your data there are safe. And upon termination, then you will have issue whether you can orderly bring back the data, or the data are securely deleted and disposed of. In terms of data, I think that's a very sensitive issue. Most of the people are concerned about the data being put to cloud. In terms of security of the data, I think you ask actually who owns the data, right? What the data can be used for, and the location of the data. In terms of cloud, sometimes the data may be moved to outside the country, and the question of which law governs the data actually when we reside. And lastly, access to the data, and who actually should be given access to data. All these are the questions that should be asked when we try to look for adoption across services.
And they also remind me of a good example of Dropbox. If you guys have been using Dropbox, I think somewhere last year, Dropbox has a community in their application. So user with a Dropbox can just change any user name and access any other user shared folder. This means that you have a Dropbox account, you put your confidential private data in there, and another guy can actually change the username to your username and access information. Just that easy and that simple. So in this kind of context, if your information has been something that's very confidential, who do go after? Dropbox? But do be aware that if you install Dropbox into your environment, you agree that this is not secure and things like that. So the thing is, the risk factor might be there. Sometimes it's correct to say that data could be stored because the cloud. You do not really know where does the data goes to. Your information might go to a country that is considered illegal to reside in that country, but that is not your choice because it's a cloud infrastructure. You don't know where does data travel into. So that brings back to a lot of legal and privacy issue when you think of using a cloud service. Not necessarily it's not a bad move, but sometimes you have to understand the risk level that you are facing when you're trying to use a cloud services. And there's a
Is there a hand up or something?
yeah.
Okay. I knew there was a brave soul in the back. But all the way in the back of the room.
Yeah, I've got two questions. The first question is around the concept that was mentioned by one of the speakers, trusted cloud service provider. So what is a trusted cloud service provider and who certifies them? And I think another speaker spoke about the ISO 27001 certification. Is that the most important certification when you're looking at the cloud service provider, or is it even something to look for?
Actually, I just came back from last week from Frankfurt Secure Cloud Conference. There's intent, CSA as well as to go for certifications, I think, and meaning that having a third party to look at cloud service providers' security provisions, that would give certain level of comfort to the buyers that this cloud service provider has been verified that have reached certain security requirements in their security provisions. Well, whereas for ISO 27001, I think this is just a generic security standard to establish an ISMS, we call it, IS management systems. So it's really not cloud specific, and there's also a movement in ISO trying to add in the cloud security requirement to this generic standard.
Wally, do you have anything you wanted to sort of chip in on that?
Well, I think when you talk to a cloud service provider, the thing that we've seen so far is that when they provide you a service, you don't really sometimes have the option to audit them. For example, if you sign up Amazon Web Services, do you go back to Amazon to say, can you show me how to set up your AWS to be as secure as you said it is? Can you show me the proof? Can you show me the logs? So in the future when the certification for the corporation CSA come in place, they might show you that okay, I am certified by a third party and following CSA certification, and this is the certification cert. So that probably give you a better sense that well, this is a better cloud service provider as compared to other people. But as of this moment, I don't think you will have any way of trying to differentiate between each different service provider. And that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to tell you, or maybe to confuse you to say, I have been certified in this certificate and that certificate. And those kind of certifications might not be really cloud related. It's just that they have some kind of process, but those process doesn't mean that make their environment more secure as compared to another provider who might not have that kind of not so relevant certifications.
If I could just add to that and add a bit of a plug for CSA, their common assessment initiative. The question is a follow-up to your second part, which is the 27,001 the most important? I mean, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But what I can do is say that you should definitely, everybody here should be looking at the CAI because for all the different areas it has, I think 7 or 8 different areas that you would be doing assessments around for a cloud provider. And it has, in some of them, numerous sub-questions. For every one of those questions, it maps them across a number of different compliance regimens, like COBIT, 27,001 or whatever. It says this particular control is relevant for this particular compliance standard. And that's a great place as a jumping off point. So I would definitely point you toward that. How many people here have looked at the CSA guidelines or the CAI or Common Control Matrix? How many hands? All right, we all have a homework assignment tonight, which is to go take a look at it. extremely helpful. And also, a lot of the providers are now sort of using that as their model of how to be prepared and how to respond. So it's kind of mutual ground for both parties to work at. Okay, there's any more questions? You think about that and stick your hand up in a second. I want to ask a follow-up with a different question, which is sort of related to this thing we just talked about, which is one of the things that we find troubling in end users is they often approach security around cloud computing like it's a one-way discussion. What does the provider do? And they don't really think about their own responsibility to either integrate what they're doing with what the provider offers as controls. So, for example, like a firewall. The provider gives you some sort of firewall. Maybe it's a physical firewall or something. It's commonly a virtual firewall. They give you that, but then you have to manage it properly. You have to set the controls properly. They can give you the firewall, but if you open up every port on it, you shouldn't be surprised you get attacked. So, what's your perspective? So let me start with you around, you've got this kind of assessment mechanism, but how do you address the part where the user has to say, oh yeah, I still have the responsibility for this, and I need to keep paying attention to it?
That is very true. As cloud service provision, there are many kind of deployment model as well as service model. Whether they sign up with IaaS or SaaS, the security boundary actually shift. Right? If you sign up with IaaS, actually you're just given a kind of bare metal environment, and you can load in the OS and so on. And it will be the customer responsibility to make sure OS is hardened. Right? So actually that's very true that there is a security boundary that shift according to the service model they subscribe to, and the customer should be aware of this thing, and in fact the service provider should also point it out to the customer that this is where my responsibility and the rest actually belongs to the customer who signed up that service and have to make sure that the security provision is tightened up.
It's, I just co-authored a book called Cloud Computing Managing Risk, published by IT Federalist Press. And I wrote the chapters on assessing security and so forth. And the phrase I used, the concept I used is there's a trust boundary between the provider and the user. And you have to understand where that boundary sits and who's responsible on which side of it and what you should look for. And again, I find a lot of times users sort of make an assessment or an assertion that everything is responsible for the provider. And they don't fully take the, they carry responsibility as well. Paul, you got a comment?
Yeah, I think from the risk assessment perspective, if I were to do a vulnerability assessment on 2 web servers, how do I know which one is running on the cloud environment and which one is running on the traditional IT infrastructure? I will know. Both servers might have different kind of vulnerability that the user has been patching. So that is actually very true of what Gordon has said. When you buy a cloud service computing resource, it could be IaaS, so it's just a bare metal. What he said, it's just a bare metal. If you put your own OS on top of it and you never do the patching and you never take care of it, you never do maintenance, 6 months down the road, and you might be realize one day that there's a compromise. And the question is, you go back to the service provider and say that why you never help me patch my system. So then become trigger point time, then the service provider will probably say you just buy a bare metal resource. You don't need our so-called like for example Amazon Web Service. You don't need our rolling out all the images that we constantly do a patching for you. So in Amazon perspective, they have a module that can, if you use their Amazon images, they actually patch for you on your behalf. So you can allow them to do your constant patching on OS, and then you take care of your application. So in their perspective, user doesn't know the responsibility lie in who is covered what. You cannot have a gap when things happen. You start to figure out what's going on. But at the time, sometimes it's too late. maybe let me share with you a story, not incident that happened, I think maybe against about last year. Anybody heard about HP Berry? It's a security company doing a lot of US defense contract project. So what happened is that they are very high advanced technology company doing a lot of digital forensics, memory forensics stuff. So those are in our security field. So what happened is that they moved their email service to Gmail. Google it. So what happened is it's not Gmail fault. So what happened is that the CEO email has been compromised. And because they migrate everything to a Gmail, anybody can access and try to log in. So they guess the password of the CEO email. So what they do is they use CEO email to send this email to the IT help desk while during the CEO was traveling to say that I forgot the password to our this mail server. Is it still the same old password? Is it a password of this? And the IT support of the HP Berry actually replied him said, no, sir, that was we have changed to this password. So it was an easy target. So next thing is the hacker log in to the mail server and extract out, I think about 1 over gig of email record and then post it on the net. And within the email record, there's a lot of dirty stuff, dirty marketing trick that they practiced with the US government, and it was just posted on the, and it was a very embarrassing moment for them. What happened is that during there is a chance for them to stop. If the email posting was inside the environment, the CEO could be easily go in there and stop the person from transferring the file and do whatever is necessary. But what happened was, because the email of his email is compromised, they tried to contact Google, and Google go through now, they help them round and round, while during all this process, the data was lost. By the time he tried to stop it, it's too late. The thing is true. So that comes back to our thinking of if we have to outsource information is to the cloud, if anything go on, do I have a very proper incident response plan? What's my incident response plan? Who should I call? And do I have a very close relationship with Google to say this is my trump card? If I call you with a certain kind of information, please stop all my services and before any further damage can be done. Well, this is really a true story, and I hope that anybody who wants to go to the cloud have to think about what are the security risk impact that might come with it.
Yeah, it's we always say you need to look at the real world, not the ideal world, because people oftentimes hold cloud providers to a far higher level of stuff than they will do themselves. Any other questions? Because we're sort of coming down toward our time, and I want to close with and sort of follow up the comments. So, when is the security question going to go away around cloud? And I often use an example. 2 years ago, the state of Pennsylvania had cut its security budget by 40%. What it spent for its security systems, for its IT, cut it by 40% because they were going through tough budgetary times. And just on the basic, you said, well, they're not doing as good a job as they used to. So that's the real world. Most cloud providers don't really have that option. You can't sort of say, well, times are a little tough, we'll get rid of security. So that says that maybe they're actually probably doing pretty well. So when will this issue go away, or will it ever go away? Because 5 years from now, will we still be sort of saying, well, can you really trust the cloud provider? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think IT risk will never go away. It must exist, especially in this cloud environment is changing so fast. So I think the key point is we need to do continuous monitoring, right? And there are initiatives where we look into kind of continuous monitoring, right? That CSA has initiated called cloud audit, where it provides they are coming up with some standards in terms of APIs and protocol, where allow the customer to continue monitor the security provisions by the cloud service provider. So that kind of quite dynamic compliance instead of the other term, because static compliance where certification is done, that means someone can check at that point in time that the certain provider has a satisfactory security provision. But after that, this thing is going to shift, right? I mean, new risk is going to be exposed or that can be covered. So that's why I say IT risk will always be there, will never go away.
So that's a world kind of like my kids. I say to them, "Is your room clean?" And they say, "Yeah." That just means it was clean at one point in time. It hasn't stayed like that.
And we also see that security vendor has tried to port, and some of them have already port the security solution into a cloud environment. This means that the security solution or monitoring, anything to do with security, has coexist with the cloud environment. And everything has been so-called virtualized. We have seen things like firewall, IPS, operating system, everything being virtualized. So in actual fact, if you were to, in the old days, if you set up an IT infrastructure with, to do let's say a web hosting site with email and DNS server, you probably need 5, 6 physical hardware. As of today, you just need one gigantic environment, and with let's say you run the email where ESXi, all the everything that you need, including all the security solutions, can be all in that single box. And well, security will not be away, but security solutions will definitely evolve around the cloud to provide users with a more secure channel.
Okay, well, with that, Wally, I'm going to give you the last word. We're going to conclude our panel. Can everyone please go around and thanks for our panelists?